Kara Kurtz. I am coordinator for both ASTA and NACTA. I will be organizer for today's presentation. We are happy to welcome today's presenter, a leader in all types of travel, Ms. Vicky Garcia, owner and COO of Cruise Planners. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We will be answering your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there is an area that says questions. If you click the arrow next to where it says questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you're having trouble hearing this presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned on. If you called in, try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via the questions pane, and I will try my best to answer. Please note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from all of you, but we have so many people on the call that background noise would be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear the entire presentation. Finally, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing at NACTA on NACTA's YouTube channel by early next week. Now, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Vicky.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody, wherever you might be in the world, because in our travel world, we're all over the place. We're going to talk briefly today about really how much your jobs are a balancing act. You guys are jugglers out there, and really how do you balance high tech and make sure that you're still using high touch to talk to your customers. So I'm going to share some best practices, just some data we found out there, and what we're doing in our world. So with that, some of the balancing acts is really, people always say, what's more important? What do you do? What's your job? Is it customer service or is it about the customer experience? And that's a huge question as far as what do you want to provide for your customers. And in today's world, it's everything, unfortunately. Right? So everybody wants it all and they want it right now. There's no more the waiting for stuff. It's not a matter of I'll call you back in a few days. People want answers right away, and the world is evolving that way. When you shop on places like Amazon.com, when you can get Amazon Prime things nowadays in your home in 2 hours, forget 2 days. And that's just the consumer world today. They want everything and they want it right now, and your business is no different. Our clients want to know the answers to their questions right away. So we got to make sure that we're using technology, and we're using all parts of technology to continue to have the tools, but to be able to provide that super high touch service and overall experience. Just like when you sell travel, people don't just travel to go on a ship. They want the experience of whether it's that they're into the ship or into the destination or into, immersing themselves locally. But we got to make sure we're leveraging technology to get us there. Now, if that screen before didn't make you dizzy, I don't know what will. So consumers today, you see, have access to information 24/7. Google is our friend, but it's also sometimes our worst enemy for obvious reasons, is people can find answers before sometimes or while they're on the phone with you to something they're asking you. So how are you competing in that? Because it is between, like the sign says, buyer's road and seller's lane. It's matching up and making sure you're in the right place at the right time. And how are you competing? Are you keeping up with technology? Because technology goes hand in hand with travel. Do you have a website? Obviously, are you sending out emails? Do you have a professional email, not just a Gmail account or an AOL account or whatnot? You should have your own branded domain email address. Are you using chat? Unfortunately, yes, it's a pain because now they're reaching you from every possible angle, but now they're texting you too, and I suffer from the same thing. I get an email from someone, but the same person possibly texted me because I didn't answer the email fast enough. And that's just a reality of life now, and yes, it becomes hard to cut and paste and now save that history in your CRMs and stuff, but it's a reality that you're going to have to adapt to. Social media. Let's not even just say those listed there, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, but even within Facebook, people are using Facebook Messenger to reach you. And again, they may have just emailed you a copy of an ad that they saw, but now they're also Facebook messaging you that they need a question about something else. And you've got to make sure you're kind of handling all that type of communication. And this is more of a self-reflection question is, are you managing that? Are you using technology to keep up? some of the things we provide for our agents is communication tools. We've got client portals that the clients can log into and see their trip and see a countdown and see whatever. And these are just ideas of, are you leveraging technology, and do you have the tools to provide your clients that immediate access to you and to your information? Are you sending email campaigns to promote something, or is your host agency doing it for you? Video marketing is proven to have the best ROI, return on investment. So video can be expensive. It doesn't have to be. You can use your iPhones, or if you have to use an Android, you can too. Being a big Apple person. But you can use your own videos when you travel. That's the beautiful thing, and those of you that have heard me speak before, my family comes from insurance and accounting. Yuck. You couldn't use video other than to say, oh, I could save you money on your next car accident. Like, it's not pretty stuff. So, but imagine when you travel, and when I travel, those of you that are friends with me on Facebook, when you post where you are, when you're on a river cruise ship, when you're in a different destination, when you're going to an abbey in Melk, Austria, when you're posting about that, your clients see you as an expert. So using video is going to be your highest return on investment. Obviously, if you supersize that and have some professionally grade videos, that even helps it that much more. One of the things we do for our franchise agencies is we actually hire a professional videographer. We pay for the main part of the videotaping, but then we let the agents buy into and have it personalized for them at the beginning or at the end, or both, and now it becomes their professional video that they can immediately house on all of their websites, or their YouTube channels, or Vimeo, etc. Do you have your own travel app for your customers where you can send them push notifications? Imagine setting up a reminder for your client that don't forget to check in for your cruise, and if they wanted to receive it via text, they can. Again, their travel info could be right at their fingertips. So those that want to use an app to track their travel, if you have an app available to them, they can actually look up on their phone what the details of their trip is. Like right now, I know I leave on July 1st on a cruise. I can look it up and say, oh, my countdown is X amount of days away. This is what the weather's forecasted to be in each port of call. So all of that stuff would be at that client's fingertips. And again, making sure that your website is also very mobile friendly. If you have a website that was designed years ago, more than likely it wasn't. And I just encourage you guys, because that sometimes can make or break a client using your website or using you, because if you don't have an updated website, it causes an impression on them. This is an interesting stat that I wanted to share with you guys. 49% of all cruise searches are through a smart device. I'm not saying bookings, so don't hold me to that. I don't think people are booking that much through a smart device. Actually, I know they're not. But they're definitely searching, like most of us. When you're stuck in a 2-hour meeting, how many of you guys don't think of, ooh, I forgot to look up, we want to go on that vacation? I'm not saying I've ever done that before. Hint, hint. But look at some of these other things. And I mean, where are U.S. adults using smartphones? I'm only going to point out the 12% in the shower. But if you guys look around, you can read and interpret the diagram for yourselves. Think out loud of what are 5 different ways that you communicate with your clients. I mean, obviously we know you talk to them, but I'm sure email is on that list. And I hope you guys are talking to yourselves in your homes or offices, wherever you are. But phone we talked about, text messages, direct mail, social media, which obviously has a bunch of different forks off that road. But think about all the ways you're communicating, or not. If those 5 aren't on your list, all of them, you're missing out on something. And I know it's hard to keep track of all of them, but you're definitely missing out on something. But these are pretty basic staples in communication with your clients. And that's just communication. Now, when you get a special promotion from a supplier, and they come to you or your host agency and they say, hey, we've got a special offer for you for the next week. You get shipboard credit of X and reduced deposit or whatnot. How are you getting that out there, and how are you getting it out quickly? So I'm going to show you a diagram that's kind of an eye chart, but it's a methodology that we use here when we create a campaign when a supplier comes in with an offer. So when we get a campaign, and it's going to be moving really fast, we think about, are we going to do a direct mail piece behind that? With that, we make sure that we've got the right addresses, because sometimes when your database isn't clean, you can be sending mail, which is expensive, and not getting to the right person. So we make sure we're hitting the U.S. Postal Service to make sure the address is right. We're actually segmenting those clients to make sure we're sending the right piece to the right person by offering, we have tools behind the scenes that do that. But we also create an email campaign that goes out to your agents from you at a flip of a button. Actually, you don't have to touch it at all. And update our website banners for all of our agents and a landing page. And we post on social media, and we post on their mobile devices, and we create editable flyers. That's when a supplier comes in with an offer, we already do all of that heavy lifting for our agents. And I'm just throwing that out there to share as kind of looks like a molecular drawing, but it's kind of the methodology. When something comes in, a whole campaign wraps around it. And I'm just, again, putting it out to you, what are you guys doing individually? Or if you're with a host, what are they doing for you to make sure that that campaign has the level of legs it needs to reach all of your customers? And to me, the most important part is reaching all of your customers the way they want to be reached to. I have been on this, personally, on this bandwagon lately to unsubscribe from stuff that I don't read. Well, those people want to reach me, but I might say, I'll take your text notifications if you have a sale, but I don't want to receive email anymore because my email is too full. So I'm not going to, as a consumer, to say, I don't want all these emails. That's not my preferred method for certain things. For some things it is, right? So you got to figure out how are you talking to your customers and how can they opt into different ways of communicating with you. So this is what it would look like. But the other diagram was ugly. This is where a campaign would be a direct mail piece. Then the matching theme would be on the website homepage. The matching social media post would be there. And the email, where it says travel deal, sorry, as we call it that, I forgot to change the terminology. The offer would go on there as well as on the mobile app. So again, that campaign carried through a bunch of different layers or types of marketing communications. I love this from Jeff Bezos, and I think he loves me a lot because I swear his boxes are at my door every day. And it's not enough that they're at my home door. I sometimes order them to the office too, so it's crazy. But we see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we're the host. It's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little bit better. And if you're not continually looking at your processes, you're missing out because things change daily, gosh, minute by minute. So yes, technology collides with customer experience. It's just part of it nowadays. So some that say, I don't like technology, I'm not technical, figure out a way to get as technical as you need to be. No one says you have to be a programmer. God knows I'm not. I just like a lot of gadgets. But you have to definitely be using technology to make sure you're being more personalized with your customer. So how do we use that? This is where we figured out about a year ago, data and technology is really what's going to be taking you over the edge really in the competition, is to make sure you're using the data. You guys have so much information. When you shop at a Macy's store, not that I ever do that either, they know my name, and if I pay with credit card, they know my credit card. They don't know much else unless I filled it out. But you guys are selling travel. You're gathering their date of birth, male, female. You know what they've paid before. Obviously, they can track that too. You know what categories they like to be in. You've got a lot of it, where they've traveled to. Have they been to Europe before? Have they not? Have they only done Caribbean or only things under 3 nights? Once you can delve into your data or have someone help you with that, it's going to take you to the next level. So one of the things we talked about was, or we like to talk about, is when you don't know where you're going forward, because you can see in the rearview mirror, it's perfectly clear. You can see where you've been. So we know this person's bought a Carnival cruise, a Princess cruise, and a Trafalgar vacation from this agent. But I don't know what else. Well, how do I predict what they're going to buy? And that's where we've kind of stepped in to help our agents do that. So we know the backwards we can see perfectly, but forward it's kind of a little bit foggy. So we try to create solutions, and big data is a huge part of that solution, in that we can delve into the data to do some predictive analysis on what someone's going to travel in and be more personalized, so that high touch comes into place. So when we use technology to give you a high touch, because we'll know more about your clients. So for example, and this is a really targeted example, we can build segments for luxury based on what you know about your customer, whether it be that they bought certain luxury products from you. But you can also append even more intelligent data by finding out what their propensity to buy is, and that's purchase data, but you can add to that. But just in the mere simplicity of segmenting your data, you guys should have your database segmented so that if tomorrow a expedition cruise line knocks on your door and says, I've got this great offer just for you. Can you mail out these 25 mailings? Who are you going to mail them to? You should have that answer in 5 minutes. It shouldn't be digging going, oh, I think Sally and Ron said they mentioned that. You can do that afterwards, but you should have in under 5 minutes a way to pull 25 names that are specifically targeted for expedition. Or maybe 5 names, but you have a way to identify the names of people that you know, whether it be family and singles, etc. This is another level. This is what we don't know about our customers. So we know what we know. We now are going out to our customer base for our agents and saying, hey, dear client, we have a contest going on right now. Tell us what you'd like to do on vacation. Because what I know is that Dan's purchased from me the 2 cruises and the land vacation. And I know what he spent, and I know their age group, and I know that it's male, I know that it's married. I know so many things about them just because we've captured that data. But what I don't know is, oh, Dan's definitely a beach lover. I can tell by his tan. But I didn't know that Dan was a shopaholic or that he played golf because I never captured that. He's never mentioned it when I booked him. So, but imagine that if you know that Dan's a golfer in this case, I want to make sure I'm targeting that right piece to that right customer, right? Well, Celebrity Cruises has signature events in the British Isles, which are specifically golf-themed cruises. If they came in my office tomorrow and says, I want to co-op a mailing, can you identify who are golfers in your database? I can by the flip of a button. And you guys should be able to as well. But again, I couldn't buy that data. So we're having to ask the customers to tell us about it, but we're making it an engaging social media campaign for them to tell us more about them. Another example with golf is Azamara Club Cruises has a partnership with Perry Golf, where Perry Golf, for golfers, and I'm not one, so I don't want to speak too much about it because I don't know much about golf, has a special program, and golfers go crazy for it, but I wouldn't market it on my regular marketing because I don't know who's a golfer. But if I know I can identify, and I'm a home-based agent, I can identify 60 people around the country that I know love golf, I can pull that list in 2 minutes and work with Azamara or Celebrity in this case to do a mailing targeted to those people. I'm hoping this is making sense. I know it's a lot of information, but I'm just trying to share some of the possibilities, because if you notice, I talked about high tech and high touch. I'm using technology and data to be super drilled down and high touch to Dan to say, Dan, I know you mentioned golf to me. I've got these 2 great programs. And how high touch is that versus here's a mailing about Azamara or Celebrity or in general, right? So it's speaking right to Dan, and by using one-to-one marketing that has your direct mail and or your email saying, Dear Dan, that's just going to go huge for you in growing your business and growing your business fast. So yes, data for sure is power. I mean, if you're not feeling it, I'm telling you right now, we're seeing the results of just using data super strong in the last year. We're definitely seeing the results. Here's another example. Let's say you have a family reunion, but in that reunion that you had a big group of people, you did have the grandparents who are retired and the professional aunts, no kids. That's who I identify with. I'm a pink. But in general, I was probably listed in your database as, oh, it's a family group. So let's promote family to these people. Well, I don't want the family group advertisement. Yes, I'll still go on my family reunion with my family if I have to. But for my travel, I want to be identified as a professional aunt, no kids, and targeted that way, that I'm a foodie and I like spas. So we've actually gone and partnered with a third party, which I mentioned before, that actually added this data. We purchased the data, it added it to that database. So it actually looked at, based on my address, it said, oh, and this is not really me, she's a P70 elite, meaning household income of $200,000 or above, slush funds, wealthy seniors, very well off, retirees, upscale neighborhood, actually, that's actually for the grandparents retired. So it's telling us that additional data. Again, if your client says they want to be on the family reunion only, that's fine, you can override that, but this is giving you insight to what their buying propensity is. So again, this is going to be an eye chart as well, but you can see here are some insight codes on the left where we've created segments, if you will, using third-party data. Again, it looks at them by zip code. It gives us demographics, income, spending, and credit. So we know that about all of our customers in the database. So now we know what they've bought from us. We know their from this third-party company, financial company, what their propensity to buy. And I mentioned travel styles before, which we're asking them, what do they want to do on vacation? So I think that's about as much information as we can know about the customer. So we're using that data to target. Now, when you look at what's on somebody's bucket list, and we ask that question to clients as well, so that if they haven't checked it off yet, we can help them check it off. But there's also another thing to it is sometimes people buy, because of a milestone, things on their bucket list that they wouldn't normally buy. So another thing that we're doing is here you can tell these people are having a milestone birthday soon. And we're serving that up to our agents every month and saying, here's people that are, again, celebrating a milestone birthday, 40, 75, 50, et cetera. And it already create an email birthday card, if you will, saying, hey, your birthday's coming up. Let's talk about setting something up to celebrate your birthday, your milestone birthday. So it'll immediately create an e-card that already has them, and it serves up, in this case, it's a milestone birthday on the left or a milestone anniversary on the right. Again, not to get too granular here, but just to kind of show you what you can be doing with technology to help you be more high touch and not giving you more things to do. I know we hear it, we're really close to our agent base, and the number one complaint, if you will, or pain point is, I don't have time. I don't have time to do all these extra things. So what we've tried to do is figure out a way to make it, set it and forget it, if you will. In this case, we don't want to send them out without an agent touching it, because what if you wanted to say, you know, the database may say, Dear Daniel, but you wanted to say, I just spoke to him yesterday, I know I call him Dan, let's say Dear Dan. Or, hey, I know we just spoke yesterday, you could write that in there. So you could actually change the copy around, but if nothing else, it already has pre-filled out copy. Another one of my favorite guys, Steve Jobs, get closer than ever to your customers. So close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it's themselves. And that's exactly what we're talking about doing here, is how do we predict what they want so that we serve it up for them. It happens today on Amazon, it happens today on Netflix. I was home sick last week, and gosh, it knew what to recommend for me. I was watching movies just based on recommendations. It was crazy. It's working. So it's harder for travel because we're selling complex products, but we're working with that already. So I hope you guys kind of look into it and see how you can try to predict. And you guys, even in your own small businesses, can try to predict based on what you know. Usually if someone goes on a Caribbean cruise, if they take Alaska next year, probably they're going to take a European cruise after that. We're just adding a lot more background data and intelligence to it. Here's Netflix. This was not mine, because I would not have had Supergirl, and this was somebody else's. Everything's a recommendation, and people rely on recommendations almost as much as they rely on their own personal recommendations, the study shows. Artificial intelligence, again, talk about predicting your customers' wants and needs. Hopefully no one has a shock or convulsion watching this thing. I almost did. Future technology, you're seeing it now with the cruise lines and different hotels, et cetera, seamless check-ins. You can book excursions pretty seamlessly now. Order a drink that will be delivered to your seat wherever you are on the ship. I tried that, actually. Make your specialty dining reservations. Find your family members. I'm scared to do that one on my mom. She'll always be in the casino. But clients are using technology, and some of them are looking for things that are technologically advanced because they like that experience. They want to play with that. We're also attached to our phones anyway, let's make it part of the vacation as well versus trying to convince me to lock it up in the safe, which won't happen. So it's happening around us. We just need to wrap our arms around it. When I went last year to the showing of the Celebrity Edge in Miami, what they were going to, at their innovation lab, when they showed us checking in a real check-in booth, like security, and it said, welcome, Vicky Garcia. It recognized me by my biometrics. Bizarre. So it's here. I mean, Celebrity just used it at a New York event a couple months ago, and as we walked into the event at the pier, same thing happened. It said, welcome, and it was just crazy and quick. So it's here whether we like it or not. When we look at Amazon again, Alexa Dots, or Google Home, et cetera, are you in that space yet? Because again, it's going to take over. Just read an article this morning about Amazon in the next 5 years is going to be the major player. Not that they aren't already, but they're actually investing in travel, which is crazy. But so you need to be in the space so you can compete with them. So we recently launched an Alexa, actually 2 Alexa skills. So clients of our agents can actually ask Alexa things about their trip, like in this example here. They can ask when their payment's due. They can ask how many days until my next trip. So and some of it's fun stuff, some fun facts, but they can already engage via the Alexa app. And here at the office, we have to mute them all because they all start answering every time I say the word Alexa. So, oh, this was a question. We're going to be giving away an American Express gift card after the call. I think by 4 o'clock today, you guys will be pulling names, right, of whoever answers the question correctly. So the quiz is, what's more important, being high-tech or high-touch? Is it A, high-tech, it's all about automation and data? B, high-touch, it's all about relationships and one-to-one contact, and God knows that's important in our business? Is it C, a strong combination of both are required to successfully grow a travel business today? And if you guys could answer the questions in the question box, and we'll look at the answers afterwards and pull a winner, and by 4 o'clock today, just sit back tight by your email, and you'll be getting an email post the webinar. Again, is it high-tech, high-touch, or a combination of both? You know, do you have the right technology to help you succeed? Again, I mentioned the basic communication things, but some of the things to look for as you grow your business is, are you looking into either software programs, companies, whatever, that can help you with data analytics or business intelligence that can actually look at the data you have and say, wow, our numbers are up this year over last year, but it looks like we're trending down over here. How do I supplement that? Or looking at my data, people that have bought Caribbean, Alaska, and a med cruise, their next trip seems to have been a blank. What is that? Again, predictive marketing, which I showed you, and how are you staying on top of future technologies? And then going to high touch, do you have the right amount? Are you talking to your customers enough? You know, I got to tell you, if you're not talking to your customers, somebody else is. And oftentimes, it's going to be the cruise line sometimes, other agencies, an OTA or whatever. You've got to stay in touch with your customers. So I know calling is off. It's going to be hard to do it all the time, but calling is important. But you should have automated emails that when your client gets back, before they leave, which is in a bon voyage, when they get back, welcomes them home. But when are you talking to them? Because somebody else is going to talk to them for sure. And know what they want or need. I mentioned at the beginning of this, and as I wrap up here, you got to look at life through the windshield and not the rearview mirror. Yes, the rearview mirror gives us perspective as to the future. And I think if you look at our lives in general, it gives us perspective. It made us who we are. But how to get to the next level is you got to be able to see way in front of you. And do you have the tools and the infrastructure set up, or the right partnerships and the right vendor relationships to take you to the future? Are you partnering with the right vendors that have the tools to get you there? And I just wanted to kind of leave you with that thought. I know that was a lot in 30 minutes, but I'm Cuban and I talk fast, I know that. And I know it was a lot of information, but I didn't want to keep you guys too long. I know how busy it is in the day, and you guys taking the time, so thank you so much. I know you're going to read off some questions that you might have.
It looks like we're still waiting for some questions to come in, but thank you so much for such an informative webinar. I can definitely speak on behalf of our agents. We've definitely enjoyed it.
Great. Well, you know you can follow up with us.
All right, sounds good. It looks like we have a lot of engaged agents, a lot of answers, actually answers still coming in.
Okay. Well, great. You know how to reach us, Kara, with any questions, whatever we can follow up with after this call?
Okay, sounds great. I will be sure to do that. If we do not have any more questions at this time, then I do hope that everyone has an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us on our webinar. We will be announcing our winner at 4 o'clock today, so make sure that you stay close to your email addresses in case you are that lucky winner. And again, thank you so much, Vicki, for such a great webinar. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.